All right, y'all. We are live. We are live. Happy Saturday evening. Like, what? Why am I live on a Saturday evening? It is because I have a special guest today, Saturday evening. But before we get into all that, welcome back to our page. Welcome back. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram and Facebook. But I really want y'all to be over on my YouTube channel so y'all can catch these links. So we're not going to be on this live too long, y'all, because y'all know I go to sleep early these days. But I am continuing on my promise of going live every single day to talk with some of our iconic speakers. And so tonight I have a special guest. But if y'all don't know what I'm talking about these iconic speakers, there's a big event that's happening literally next week. Literally next week, we have the Icons of Beauty Supply Summit happening. I just dropped the link in the chat for you guys if you don't know what I'm talking about. But I am bringing back like the Icons of Beauty Supply. I did this back in 2021. And I was like, we need to run this back. And I'm like, we need to run this back in like 2 weeks. So y'all know how I do. I get an idea and I just run with it. And so I'm super fortunate because everyone that I asked to be a part of this amazing event said yes. So we are going to bring to the stage our next iconic speaker, Miss Chasity. And she is the owner of Pink Noire out in Memphis. And so we're just going to bring her up and we're going to talk about her amazing store. Welcome.
Thank you. So excited to be here with you.
Yes, I am just like, first of all, I'm out of breath.
Girl, you're doing a lot.
Because I'm like, I need to get everybody that's anybody on this virtual stage to talk about their journey. And Child Chastity is just on it. So first of all, just tell the people who you are.
Okay, so I'm Chasity Monroe. I am the founder and CEO of Pink Noire Beauty Supply and Cosmetics, and we are Memphis's only Black woman-owned beauty supply company in the city of Memphis.
That is so insane to
Yes,
think about being the only.
in
What is
a
that? Like, what does that mean
majority
to you?
Black city
Yeah,
is
that's crazy.
yes.
That is crazy. So I feel like our stories are very similar to how we got into beauty supply. We were like a corporate girly
Yep.
and you were in a different city. So like take us back to where you were in life when
Yeah.
it was like, oh, I want to do beauty supply from like being in like the corporate world.
Oh my God. So I actually, my first job was with Procter and Gamble when I graduated from college. So I went to FAMU, shout out to the Rattlers, went to FAMU,
Yes.
graduated, and then immediately went to P&G. So that was like, as a marketing girl, that was like a big dream, right? So I was a market research manager. I worked on many brand teams, and I ended up. So if you don't know what P&G is, like Tide, Febreze, Cascade,
Mm-hmm.
CoverGirl, all of those were like brands, and I worked on a lot of those brands. Now I ended up going into beauty. Worked on Clairol, and in our market research, we would do what we call like ethnic research. So I also had an ethnic brand at the time. It was Jasmine, right? P&G
Oh,
owned Jasmine. So I remember speaking to a lot of like, Black consumers just about the market, and they would always talk about, Black women would talk about the beauty supply experience and, how it's so transactional, how they wish they could learn more, and all of these things. And, it was just a lot of just like, you're seeing the money being spent, but just this disdain for the experience. And so obviously as a Black woman, I knew that, right?
yeah.
But hearing it over and over and over, it's like, dang, what am I going to do about that? So fast forward, that was that. Went through life, actually ended up moving to New York. So from Cincinnati to New
Yeah.
York, went to Columbia for grad school. I took an entrepreneurship class, and I remember the professor saying, what, where do you see an unmet need in your community? And
Right.
instantly it popped back up again. Like that was the first thing that popped up. Did a business plan. Again, I'm in New York, right? So even though, the queen has done a beauty supply store in New York, I was like, where am I going to get the space, the money? It's like, it wasn't a reality for me at the time. And then fast forward again, the pandemic arrived. I was still living in New York. But I had just bought a property in Memphis. And so I was like, oh, we'll just hang out in Memphis for these 2 weeks of COVID. Ended up actually, the pandemic lasted a long time. So I
Yes.
was like trying to get ready for my Zoom calls and all of that because that was the new world.
Yeah.
But I'm like going to the beauty supply. I don't know the area that I'm in now, right? Because I'm back in Memphis. I hadn't lived in Memphis since I was like, a teenager. So I'm like, all right, GPS, show me where the closest beauty supply is. I need to get my hair together.
Yeah.
And then take me to the worst beauty supply you could ever think of. Like, it's raining. It's raining outside. It's raining inside. Rain is hitting the product. I'm trying to get help because I'm a salon girl. And nobody, I'm like, oh, someone's right next to me. They can help me. They're just making sure I'm not stealing.
Right.
So I'm like, girl, I'm a professional woman. I'm not so I'm like appalled at this point. And it's tens of dozens of Black women in there. So it was literally that day. I was like, no, I got to do something about this. And that was it. And lo and behold, thank God for Jesus that the pandemic happened. Clubhouse was a whole thing back then. And I don't know how the algorithm was made, but I ended up coming in contact with you and, just hearing your story, how you transformed, so many people's lives with just giving them and equipping them with the tools they need to, be beauty supply store owners. And I think, the rest is history. So
the rest is history. So but the store that you have now, was that Korean owned?
No. So I did like a little Zoom, or not a Zoom, but like a reel about the store that you saw in that reel, that was the store that I actually went to that day.
Okay.
So no, I actually got a space from scratch. It was an old
Okay. Okay. Because I saw it, I was like, oh wow.
So that was like everyone was like, oh, did you buy that? So that whole shopping center, I actually did. It's funny. I tried to buy that exact one, but the entire shopping center was being sold. And so I think it was actually owned by the shopping center was owned by the beauty supply store owners as well. Then they sold it. Yeah, they sold the entire shopping. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to buy an entire shopping center.
Right.
But here we are.
Okay, so how many years has it been?
3. It'll be 3 next month.
That's what I was trying to count. Was it 2 or 3? I felt like I definitely knew it was over 2.
Yeah,
it's about to be 3 years.
Wow.
What do you think? 3 years?
It has been a ride. It has been, me and my husband were just talking about how we just literally jumped in this thing, just jumped in, didn't know what to expect, how to do it. Thank God for people like you to, kind of show us the ropes to skip and the ropes to know. But it's been a ride. And I will tell you that I always tell people it's more than beauty. It's really about empowering our communities, right? It's the joy of seeing little Black girls come in there and how they look so proud, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're the owner of this store." And I'm like, "Yeah," and you see the light bulb going off for them, right? So if there's been anything, it's not been, I'm making all this money, and I'm, it's more so knowing that I'm able to empower the community in that way. And then, one of we partner with this camp, and we, give them supplies and things. And she told me this story about how she went to her local beauty supply asking for things to be donated. Now, this is someone she goes to more regularly than me. And do you know, they were like, no, we don't give.
Absolutely. I believe that.
And I was like, that's insane. So to be able to be in this position, right, to be able to recirculate those
Mm-hmm.
opportunities, dollars,
Absolutely.
upskilling women. I mean, that to me has been like the wildest ride. And just learning, right? Because I'm not a cosmetologist. So
Right.
I've learned so much. And it's just been an awesome opportunity that, God and the people of Memphis have been willing to support me as I have learned. So it's been great.
Yes. I love that. And one thing that you said, I think, like, I'm always telling people about, like, I feel like what we do specifically in this industry is really unlike any other modern industry, where it's like we're still kind of like in that civil rights movement where it's like it's you're the only one in the
Mhm,
whole like city that
mhm,
has this type of business.
mhm.
And so for us it's way beyond
It
the money.
is. It
It's
is.
more like we're those pioneers, right? That's like setting the path for other people to come behind us. And then you mentioned the young girl. I remember my grand opening day, and it's like your whole family is there and they're so proud, but then like you realize the community comes out and they're just like in awe. They're just
Yeah.
like, I remember my grand opening, it was like this, the 24-year-old, this young girl. First of all,
Right.
I still look 24, let's be clear, but like
Okay,
I was just
period.
like, you? What? You?
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
And
Yes.
for you to have done that at such a young age is still so beyond me. In New York is just
Crazy. It is
crazy.
absolutely crazy. And I think about, yeah, being very, very young. I think for me, what I was battling back then, like almost 20 years ago, was the fact that I was walking in these spaces and I felt like they see like a young girl more than they saw a black girl. They saw
Yep.
it like, so I was like dealing
Yep.
with ageism,
Yep. Yep.
sexism, racism, because my mentor at the time was like this older Guyanese dude. So he came in, he was talking the way he was talking, he was rough with the
Mhm.
Koreans. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to come behind that? Like, but
Right.
yes,
Right.
you are supposed to come behind that. So we'll
And
talk about like the way you've dealt with the people we have to deal with in this
yeah,
industry. Like,
I literally
how
just
has it been for you?
I just went through something literally within the last week, like with a vendor, right? And so it's so funny when I first started, I was like, I'm gonna be smart. I'm gonna get like a Korean assistant, and then I'm gonna be, I'm thinking I'm gonna like jump through these. And it was cool up until, of course, you got to still give the owner's information. And
Right,
you're like,
absolutely.
what? Wait a minute.
Yeah,
What? So,
yeah,
at the end of the day, you still have to, face these things head on, right? And so, even for me, I literally had an order, and you know how it is. First of all, with all the tariffs going on, it's just
yeah,
a
it's
lot
crazy.
that's happening. And we've gone viral a few times. So, people have come into the store, and we're not used to that kind of volume, right? So, we're
Mm-hmm.
out of a lot of things. So, I'm like, okay, I need my things. I need my things. And they're
Yes.
just playing around. They're like jerking me around.
Yeah.
It is so uncomfortable too, right? Because you're kind of at their mercy. Because if you
Yeah.
don't have certain things, then it delegitimizes you as a beauty
Yeah.
supply store, right? But at
Yeah.
the same time, it's just like, like I'm trying to give
You're
y'all this, and
trying.
y'all playing around. Like I need this stuff, and then the people when they come, right, they're gonna look at me like I'm crazy if I don't have anything on my
Yes.
shelves, right? So
Yes.
I am
It's
thankful
tough.
and grateful for the boycotts that are happening, because I do think it's a time where people are going
Mm-hmm.
back to black businesses. But I hope people are also understanding that this is new volume. So we're
Yep.
not used to that volume, and now we're trying to increase and prepare for this. And there's still tariffs. There's still
Yep.
the thing. You know how it's a back and forth game. With the vendors every single time. And I had an order in 3 weeks ago that just got released.
That's
Like,
crazy.
yeah, and I still don't have one of the biggest vendors. Like, I still don't have one of the biggest hair vendors, just
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want to give it to me. But where there's a will, there's a way,
There's a
right?
way, child.
That's why community, having mentors, all of that is so important.
Yes. So you mentioned the boycotts, and what I want to say, first of all, is I think you were one of the few beauty supply business owners that I saw actually talk about the DEI shutdown and its impact on big box retailers, but the impact on Black owned brands. And obviously, we carry a lot of Black owned brands. We try to
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know why I didn't see more store owners talk about that. I don't know. Were y'all scared? What was that? I feel like I can count on one hand
I
how
mean,
many Black owned beauty supply store owners spoke out and spoke
yeah,
up.
yeah.
And I was just like, that's odd. So what made you speak up?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you did a live, right? Or a
I
post.
did. I
Yeah,
did.
you did a whole live. Child, she did a whole live.
I
Some of y'all
did.
didn't say nothing. She did a whole live.
I
So
did.
what made you speak up, speak out in the very bold way that you did, and also talk about what happened after that? Because I feel like something really amazing happened after.
Yeah. So, it was interesting because it felt like we all wanted to do something, like, right? It was like, I can't believe this is happening. Some of our favorite retailers are like really showing us their true selves, but then the brands were like, no, keep shopping there because we're there. And I'm like,
Oh Lord.
this is and these are people I love. These are brands I mean, some of them I even personally know,
Yeah.
right? So I'm just like, it was a very awkward space for me to be in because I actually personally knew some of these people. And of course I love them and I want them to grow. Like that's the name of the
Yeah.
game. But not at the expense of what's right. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
so I even got called out because I have products on
Did
Amazon.
you?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So I have products on Amazon and
Oh,
they're like,
wow.
well, you need to take all of your products from Amazon if that's the case. And I'm like, well, listen, I'm not telling people to still go to Amazon. You can come on my website, you can come in
Yeah.
store. There's a lot of other ways. So if we out like last week, there was a Amazon, like we're not shopping Amazon. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not shopping Amazon and I'm not
Yeah.
going to tell you to do it either. And if we said, okay, we're all not shopping Amazon for a year, that's what we're going to do. And I think there's just going to be casualties. That's what happens.
That's what happens in war.
Period. And you got to just be okay with that. But for
Yeah.
you to be like, you still need to line our pockets and just buy our brands. No, that sounds
Wild.
crazy. How does that work? So I felt compelled because I do feel like people's heartstrings were being pulled and they were really confused on which way to go. But I'm like, our ancestors didn't do
What's
all
the
of
confusion, y'all? Why are we confused about this?
There's no confusion. And honestly,
There were people who literally during the Montgomery bus boycott walked to work for a year, and y'all can't pull your stuff down. Can you imagine having to walk miles for a year?
And
Y'all
a
can't
lot
even
of our
turn off the
ancestors
TV
were,
and boycott Super Bowl for a year.
and a lot of our ancestors then they were doing like housework. It wasn't like you were just walking to get on a computer. You're walking and you're really, really working, washing clothes, doing whatever. And then like now, if we can't even just not go to Target, and we
can't just not go to Target.
It's insane. So I felt the need to remind people why Target was chosen too, because Target had
that was also such a good point.
Yeah.
Like I don't think people understood what the background was.
Yeah.
So explain to the people real quick. Explain to the people the background.
So I think the reason that retailer was in particular chosen is because like back when I know you guys remember, like there weren't Targets in our neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. Like that just wasn't the case. And then all of a sudden there were. And so Target was like, hey, a lot of the neighborhoods were like, well, we don't want you to displace our mom and pop shops, and they made a deal basically with the community saying, hey, I know it might seem like this, but we're going to do our part. We're going to make sure we bring Black brands in. We're going to elevate the communities, all of these types of things, right? So it wasn't just like, oh, they decided to just be kind and generous and benevolent. these were pacts that were made with the communities to basically let the communities come in. And so now they have run their, like, they're everywhere they need to be, and at the opportunity that they can, get out, they've been like, all right, I'm out. And let's not even forget George Floyd. They made a huge commitment right at that moment as well, and they were supposed to like spend billions of dollars in 2025. And so now they've just retracted that whole thing. So all of these commitments and promises that they made basically were just like to get our dollars, and now they don't have to do it, and they're not. So people are like, well, you should be doing this for Walmart and Amazon. True, but Walmart and Amazon were never out there like that doing what Target did. And so I think that is why Target has been chosen. And I will also say that that's not to say the other retailers won't get in the fold, but the only way to eat an elephant is bit by bit, right? So y'all can barely do a 1 week, 30-day Target. So we got to start small. We got to crawl before we walk. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's really crazy to think about, like, when I had my store, and it was a much smaller store, but this was when all of our pioneers were coming out with their products, and there was no room on anybody's shelf for their stuff. So I just remember, like, it was just such a good time, and I was just making money. It was just like crazy, the amount of money that we made in our 800 square foot store, just because you could not find these products in the Target, Walmart, or whoever. They just wasn't checking for those products. And I tell people all the time, like, if we were just really intentional about just really and truly having the Black dollar circulate in our community, from the manufacturer to the retailer to the consumer, like a full circulation, the same way they do it in other communities, like we would be,
there's no stopping us. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like, it would be, because I've seen it already. Like, I remember those days. And then when they would send me the letters like, oh, we're going into Target and we have to cut the margins. And I was like, I would be reading the paper like, what? What are you talking about? Now the margins are just absolutely ridiculous.
They are.
I can't do nothing with these little 30% margins. I have employees, I have overhead, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, everyone wants to be in Target these days, and that is just the big dream. But I just remember a time where it's just like, everybody, you were just on YouTube, like with your products, like all of the big names, like you knew them personally, you had their cell phone, and the relationships were like really there. And it's like completely different now. It's completely different now. And it's like, it's kind of sad, because it's going to be hard for us to have multiple locations and to grow and scale when you're still like so far behind. You can't even get support from your own people.
And they don't care. It feels like, and I get it, we all are confronted with a lot of different challenges, so I understand that, but it just seems like there would be more done for collaboration, right? And a lot of the times the bigger brands will say, oh, well, if you can like collaborate with some other beauty supply stores, and then y'all all can come up with it. And that's great. But and we try to do that. But at the same time, especially for someone like me, right? Like, I'm in Memphis, so I'm the only one in Memphis. So when you think about shipping, it still only can come here, even if I, like pool my money with someone from Mississippi or wherever. So I wish that we could really all like have a summit and come together and just have a come to Jesus, like how we can make this work, because we are all we have. And I don't know when people are going to realize that, but that's just what it is. That's it. We're all we have.
We
So.
are all we have.
Yeah.
Which is so true. So let's talk a little bit about what happened after
Yeah.
you went live,
Mhm.
and you made a couple of posts about some of the successes that you've seen, which were amazing. So talk more about that.
Yeah, so it is interesting. So after I kind of, started talking about that, I definitely saw the business, coming in, which was great.
Mhm.
And it was so funny because the day before I was on Facebook, and so I'm just looking at people's posts about the boycott and this and that, and I'm like, oh God, these people are thinking they're not supposed to shop anywhere. They're
Mhm.
supposed to shop black. So I'm like,
Mhm.
listen, y'all just tell me if I need to be closed, I can save on my payroll. It's
Right.
fine. Just let me know if I need to be open or not. Like I literally put that on my Facebook. And people were like, no, we're shopping, we're shopping, we're shopping. And legitimately, that day was like my biggest sales day of the year. Thank God. And
Yay!
I didn't even, it was just me because I'm thinking nobody's gonna come in here. Y'all, we had lines out the door. Like the line for so long,
Glory
people
to
like,
God.
yeah, God is good. I mean, I was, when I tell you, I was so shocked and appreciative because it just was overwhelming. And then after that, a young lady came in, Allie. She did like a quick TikTok, like just, showed the store. She put it on TikTok. That got over 650,000 views,
That is
23,000 comments.
insane.
Yeah, so it was just all these viral moments started happening after that. So, I think God was nudging me to kind of say what I said about the boycotts. And I do think that, I am seeing those rewards and just being obedient. So thank you, God. Thank you, Memphis. Thank you. And then even online orders, people were like, hey, I don't live in Memphis, but I'm going to support you. And they were going
Yes.
online buying our products. So I'm just grateful. And it is just a blessing to see your people come like and support you in that way. So,
Yes. I love that. And y'all heard what she said, like viral, being, you have to like be out there because there's so many people. There's so many people that I have to coach on just turning on the camera and just
yeah.
going on social media and just showing up. Chastity out here dancing on the camera, y'all.
With my
Okay, so
short.
y'all can't even get y'all to turn the camera on and just tell the people who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, you have
Janice,
to
I'm not
show
gonna lie,
up.
it does take a lot. Like I hated it. I'm like,
I
why
hate
do
it
I
too,
have
but it's a part of the job,
it
y'all. It's
is.
just literally a part of the job.
It
Y'all got
is.
to
It
turn the
is.
camera on.
It is. And I come on the camera looking crazy all the time. I'm just like, whatever. I'm just gonna get out there. And people are so used to these creatives with their beautiful
Yeah.
hands. But I don't have time for that.
You
I'm
don't have
not
time. Just turn the camera on and just
gonna
talk.
turn it on and talk. And people want to know who you are. They want to root
Yes.
for you. And so when you just hide behind a business, some people are great at like marketing their, companies that way. But for us, especially,
You have to.
I've had people say, oh, you shouldn't promote that it's a Black woman owned business. I'm going to promote that because I need you to know who I am, what challenges I have, and why I'm here,
Absolutely.
and I can only be my authentic self. So that's what you see, and it's all over the place because I'm, a million things.
You
So
are.
you're not a monolith, but you're gonna get all of that, when you come to the Pink Noire page.
Yes, love it, love it, love it. So this was such a good conversation, y'all. If you guys haven't got your tickets yet, I don't know what y'all waiting on because y'all hear these speakers like they are just gonna bring a wealth of knowledge to the Icons of Beauty Supply Summit, and we are gonna wrap it up here, y'all. Any last words? Okay, so people that are on the fence, Chastity, that are like, "Oh, this sounds good," because y'all know I'm doing these lives every day. I'm like, I'm turning the camera on, y'all, and I'm out here. So y'all need to get these tickets. Any last words for people that are on the fence with
Y'all,
getting y'all tickets?
first of
Give them
all,
some last words, honey.
if this is what you
Encourage the people.
want, you need to do it. There is no better time than the present. Okay. That's number one
I love
because
that.
you're going to look
That's a
up
word.
And baby, your whole life been and passed you
Mm.
by. You need to do it today. Act today. That's number one. But number two, you're not gonna get nobody better than this. Like when I tell you, she is a wealth of knowledge. She is, I mean, she really does know what she's talking about. She's put together, and when I tell you some of the best of the best of the best, like
Yes.
y'all, this is an amazing opportunity, and you would be remiss, honestly, to miss out on it. Like you don't get this level of expertise of related, like I mean, she's literally all the things that you see, right? And she's just been able, the fact that she's been able to pull this together and people are just like willing to be on here speaks to
So
who she
insane.
is and what she knows, right? So I'd say, y'all playing. This is a very small investment for your future. You need
Yes.
to stop
Hello.
what you're doing and be obedient, because we talked about that earlier, and do what
Yes.
you need to do. So yes, I highly recommend doing this. If you even have a little bit of interest, this will open up your world like to the nth degree. So yeah.
Yes, y'all. And so the panel that you guys are doing, which I'm so excited about, is gonna be like all about like branding and just bringing that experience. And like I always like to talk about, like we're in this like Black girl luxury era. So like y'all gonna spill the tea on like what it took for you guys to like open this like really unique store, beautiful
Yep.
store, and like the behind the scenes. So you guys got to be in the room to catch all that tea, because
Yes.
Chassie is going to be bringing it.
Yes.
And you just got to be there, y'all. So the VIP tickets is like 50% off. Like general admission is basically free, y'all. So meet us March 22nd. I
Meet us.
dropped the
Don't meet
link.
us.
Yes, I dropped the link in the chat for you guys. Thank you so much, Chastity, for coming
Thank
on tonight. I'm
you.
so excited to have you speak. Thank
Yes.
you for saying yes
Of
to the
course.
call. It
Thank
was
you
so
for
last
inviting
minute.
me on this platform. It really means a lot, honestly,
Yeah.
for me to be here with you. So to
Yes,
even
you
share
are
this platform with you.
bomb.com. You are
Yes.
bomb.com. And y'all need to follow her, because she's like the blueprint of how y'all should be posting and everything. I
Thank
mean,
you.
she out here dancing on the camera. Like, come on.
Doing the
Sis is
most.
out here doing it. Like, she's the blueprint right now.
Thank
So tell the people really quick where they can follow you as well.
Yeah, so we are on pretty much all the handles. Pink underscore, so PINK underscore NOIRE. Pink Noire. So we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Pinterest, we're on everything.
All the
YouTube,
things.
all the things. So yes, come see us, Pink. And we also have our website, which is pinknoire.com, PINKNOIRE.com.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow. Yes, on a Sunday, 1 p.m. Good night. Thanks, Chastity.
Thank you.